Hello, everybody. Good morning. My name is Mike Spagna. I'm the Chief Academic Officer, Vice President for Academic Affairs, Provost. But I want to tell you, we have a small but mighty crowd here today. Fall Convocation is the kind of start of our community for the entire academic year. So although we have a small but mighty crowd here, I'm going to ask you to make some noise. Can we make some noise? Now that's impressive. A little louder. All right. Very exciting. So as you notice, I'm 6 feet 4 inches tall, and I'm on a stair, so I'm kind of elevated above this. But 6'4", 6'5", it's humid out with my hair. But I'm going to be up elevated like this because all of our speakers are not 6'4". So this is how we'll manage it. I'm your MC for today. And I'll be opening with some remarks, and then we have some 3 really wonderful distinguished speakers, ending with our president, the one and only Thomas Parham. Another applause for him for his leadership. Some of you might remember back in 2019, I made a statement, and some people were kind of asking me about that the other day. And in the statement, I said the next 3 years was going to really define the future for California State University of Davis Hills. And really the theme for today is that we are living the future right now. I'm going to point out some of these highlights, but that prediction actually is coming true and has come true. So in 2019, I made that statement, but then the pandemic happened. So we had a little setback, but even with that setback, a reminder for all of us, we are resilient as Toros. We are special. We are building something very special here in Carson. And so today, in part, I want you to celebrate that with me. And I also want you to celebrate that after we have our official program and we're out together in community on the North Lawn to really enjoy the day. When the pandemic happened, that timeline, we would have thought it could have been interrupted, but I've always been optimistic when it comes to higher education. We have the noblest job of any group in the United States. We fulfill students' dreams, we put them on pathways for their personal and professional lives. And so I'm sticking with my prediction that these 3 years have set us up for the future, and today we're going to be celebrating the future that we live in. Some of the changes that you'll notice on campus, these are things that are very apparent. You can see them just walking the campus. We've talked before about the 3 new buildings we have on campus. So our Science and Innovation building, our Innovation and Instruction building, our Student Housing Complex, we have dining commons coming, we have a Student Health Center coming. So a lot of things to celebrate in terms of the buildings. We also, if you notice, we have some pretty incredible landscaping. Again, I want to have applause for the landscaping around here. We have 300 acres of space on this campus, and I love the fact we have Adirondack chairs all over the place with little patio areas. So to celebrate that and the flowers and everything they do on a daily basis to beautify this campus. You'll also notice that we're creating all kinds of new spaces. So we have an esports initiative. We're working on the locker rooms to make sure that our athletes are taken care of. We also have an innovation incubator. It's on the 2nd floor over in the I&I building. And most importantly, we have a lot of other things that we are committed to standing up and making sure that they provide a welcoming environment. Most importantly, our cultural centers. I want a round of applause for that because the cultural centers are going to be key for us as a university going forward, providing a welcoming environment. Under the leadership of President Parham, we also have some things that maybe as you walk the campus you won't see right away, but I will also have you celebrate. First and foremost, unlike many of the other Cal State universities during the pandemic, we did not fire anybody, we did not lay anybody off. We continue to hire, so we have hired new members to our family, whether it's faculty, whether it's new staff. And again, I want some applause for all the new members of our family that we've welcomed over the last 2 years. We have a new strategic plan, and I want to take my hats off to 2 of the key architects, Matt Smith, Drs. Matt Smith and Kim Costino. Kim is here, I haven't seen Matt, I'm sure Matt is watching. We took our time. It wasn't paint by numbers. It was organic. It has a really noble theme of going far together. Our job now is to actually live this strategic plan. It's not something we're going to put on a shelf. We have to live this day to day. We've also reconfigured our whole advising program. I know that that's a challenge because we take structures and we kind of move them around, but I think that this revised advising structure, student support structure, is going to serve us very well. We have a new addition to our group, Dr. Andy Drummond. I want to applause for him. He's doing this and hit the ground running July 1st. We have successfully pursued over the last 2 years, during the pandemic, new accreditations, new measures of academic excellence. And a person that keeps accreditation going on this campus in terms of WASC accreditation, Vice Provost Ken O'Donnell. Ken, we have doubled our intramural support and extramural support for everything we do on campus. What I mean by extramural, our philanthropic gifts under the leadership of Eva is our Vice President for Advancement, Sipsikova. Applause for her. We've gone from $4 million to $8.5 million to new heights, and then also Dr. Sherry Schrager, who really runs our Dean of Graduate Studies and the Office of Sponsored Research and Programs. Congratulations to Dr. Sherry Schrager on what she's done, our highest grants activity ever on campus. And now our job is not just to secure the grants, but make sure the faculty are supported in actually doing those grants. That's a big commitment we have. We've also rededicated ourselves to our core business. And our core business is very simple. It's recruiting, supporting, retaining, and making sure that the students that come to Dominguez Hills fulfill their dreams. And so I want you all in this conversation today, and as you're out on the lawn, this is our job. We have to dedicate ourselves to what happens with students. And I will tell you, many of you know this, I'm a former middle school teacher. If one student can't continue with us, we should all feel diminished. Our job is to support every student, to make sure we do as best we can to keep them here, have them fulfill their dreams. We have a new re-enrollment campaign that's incredible. We had over 390 students that we re-recruited who had stopped out over 5 years ago. And when they got the call from our university saying, "We've been waiting for you, we want you to come back," students were overjoyed by this, and this will be work that we continue going forward. So I want you to welcome those re-enrolled students, and I want you to recognize also that when students take a chance on us a second time to come back, we have to be the university of no hassles, where we support them and make sure they're supported in terms of following their dreams. Recently, and most importantly, some of you noticed this, I don't know if you kind of track this, but we actually were the runner-up in Division II women's softball. And excuse my remarks, and I know we're on camera, but we kicked some butt. And actually, one of our players set new NCAA records. And my understanding, for all of you that are going to join us at Dodger Stadium this Sunday, she is going to be playing catcher for the president as he throws out the first pitch. And the president's been working on his fastball. I told him not to get fancy, no curveballs, sliders, anything else. And he's promised me that he's going to make a strike. So let's watch that and make sure it's going to be televised. And then finally I end with this, that you probably know this, and we've talked about it and people kind of wonder about it. We ranked #2 in the nation in socioeconomic mobility for our students. I will take that accomplishment over any other accomplishment we have as a university, because here at Dominguez Hills, we are not about selectivity from the standpoint of perpetuating privilege. We're about elevating students, and we're about having students live their best lives. So that is something that we will be living, championing. Now, Cal State LA took the #1 spot, so we'll beat them in this next year in terms of what we're going through. During all of this, we've kept our compassion for one another, we've demonstrated resilience, and we realized, and we are continuing to realize, our aspirational goal of being a model urban university in the United States. So, join me in celebrating our university, the one and only California State University, Dominguez Hills. The future is now. We have what we need to be a force for good in our community, to ensure that our students thrive in their personal and professional lives, to embody what it means for all employees, and I mean all employees, to be valued as educators, to nurture a culture of care, and to fulfill our mission of equitable access to education. Go Toros. Now, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing you to our faculty leader, the chair of the Academic Senate, Chair Dr. Kirti Selly. Please join us up on the stage, Kirti.
Good morning, and welcome to a new dawn at Dominguez Hills. My talk is titled Class of 2020U. And I welcome every one of you. It's my privilege as Senate Chair to welcome every one of you, whatever your role is at the university, and especially our students, both those in the room and in the Zoom or watching the live stream. I'd like us to take a moment to give a round of applause to every student that has committed to and begun their journey at CSUDH. My students work in teams at the College of Business Administration, and one team called us many years ago, Dominguez Hills, the diamond in the rough. And we've been polishing that diamond progressively. So I am ready to say this gem of a university is one of 23 universities in the largest four-year university system in the United States. So you should be students and employees, all of us, but students especially, feeling good, really good about the choice you've made. Thank you, Provost Pania, for this privilege. This is a ceremonial kickoff, and it's the first bookend of a larger journey. And I'll talk about that in just a moment, but I do want to highlight two things that the Provost has said slightly differently. The first is that I encourage all of us to embrace this year our full return to a vibrant university campus. And I mean the physical campus in addition to our virtual presence. Together, all of us employees and our students serve each other and especially serve our students. So for the students watching and you don't know what the Academic Senate is, I'll just take a moment to say that we are the body of faculty elected by each department and program to represent them in exercising faculty voice. What does that mean? We listen, we study, and we bring to the table with our administrators and with our students, ASI leaders, Associated Students, Inc., the governance organization for students. We bring forward changes that are necessary in practice, but more importantly, in policy, by way of new policy and by way of policy revision. And for that, I want to thank all the parties that collaborate to share information on what we can do better to serve our students fully. There's an old English proverb, hindsight is 20/20. 20/20 is optometrist speak for normal vision. I'd like to ask us, especially the students, but all of us in the room, what if foresight could be made 2020? But being strategic, especially as an incoming student, whether you are a returning student, a transfer student, or a freshman coming in, is not as easy as it might sound. It's not so normal. So what we are doing today is just going through a little exercise, and all of us, I encourage the faculty and staff and administrators to do this as well. A little exercise in being strategic, in planning ahead, in fact, in designing students your whole life at the university and beyond. This planning takes acts of consciousness. So while we're together, we may as well use our time to begin that movement of designing your life while we are here together. So join me in an exercise looking forward to your commencement or graduation ceremonies, the other bookend to this convocation. Those ceremonies mark the cultural and the grand ceremonies at the college level, mark your completing this, your personal university journey, hence the title, 2020U. Ready? So again, I encourage everyone to join me in this journey, in this exercise. If you have tired eyes already, I know some of my colleagues come in at 6 in the morning and have been working at a computer since. Close your eyes if you're comfortable doing it. And if not, please join us with your eyes open. In your mind's eye, envision yourself at graduation, poised to enter family life, the workplace, and graduate school in new roles, roles that you have prepared for through your education here. Please take a moment. Now, looking back from that vantage point, what did you do at this university besides signing up for classes, attending them, and completing them? Besides achieving your own best level of academic excellence? Enjoy this visualization for a moment. Now I ask that you actively reflect on how what you did shaped the unique you as you begin your journey onward from the university. How did you set yourself alongside and simultaneously distinct from the others in the classes of 2020X? And by this I mean we have many different timelines to graduation because people in the room entered the university at various times. It's not just new students we're addressing. Did you reach out to your professors outside the classroom and to your academic advisors to introduce yourselves, mine their knowledge, networks, and wisdom? It's not just faculty and classes that make this university. It's staff, and as you heard the provost say, staff including the plant and the landscaping staff and academic staff and non-academic staff. Did you get engaged with service to any of the university communities, with undergraduate or graduate research, with internships, with student clubs and organizations, with student government? Did you take advantage of the university services that are included in your tuition? For example, LinkedIn Learning, many that the provost recommended, such as the Innovation Incubator, advising, the Career Center, Handshake, Toro Jobs, alumni guidance, job fairs, Slice, community engagement, intramural and competitive athletics, scholarships, work study, workforce integration, how what you do here helps you get a job eventually. If so, you're already on the journey to creating the path to your own success. Incidentally, many of these services cost real money when you graduate because you've got to pay somebody else for their services. It's a good time to start now. Still, going back to that vantage point of graduation, looking back, ask yourself, how did you enjoy being involved in co-curricular activities? What did you learn from these investments? What difference did they make, will they make to you as you move forward? What do we, as the university staff, faculty, administrators, want from you, ask of you? We'd like you to recognize that the university, a university, this university, is about the degree, and it is also about more than the degree. Now is the time to step into both, and especially to the one that is less laid out for you, the more than the degree. You might be asking yourself, why? Must I? I already have family, I have a full-time job, multiple jobs, so many responsibilities at home. We know that the engaged student, engaged in these communities, the university communities, is the student who persists and completes. She, he, they are also the upwardly mobile student that brings us socioeconomic mobility, brings us to the top of those rankings. Having developed both the technical knowledge, theories, skills, and practices of their disciplines, and also the practice and mastery of the soft skills needed for work, life, and lifelong learning. These are, from the Chancellor's Office website, communications, curiosity, leadership, attention to detail, critical thinking, grit, interpersonal skills, and ownership, responsibility. And they come not just from being fully present in the classroom, but also venturing out of the classroom during your time with us. And I'm bringing this to a close in a moment with acknowledging the work that 3 faculty colleagues working together have done, hosted in my college, co-hosted with Alumni Relations. We call this series and program Thrive. This is what our students heard from our panel last week. And the panel consisted of our former head of Career Center, a presidential scholar who is spending a 4th year with us, even though he's ready to graduate, to use the services and benefit from the scholarships, fellowships, and other offerings in his 4th year. And a member from my college, our internship coordination, the college, internship advisor in the College of Business Administration and Public Policy. Here's what they said. Be brave. When in doubt, seek it out. Be open. Start early and take 5. Please join all of us who are here for you in the land of the Toros, the determined, by rooting for yourself and for others in your cohorts. Look around you. These are your people. These are our people. You will start businesses with them. They will work for you. You will work for them. So just do it. Get involved. Stay involved and encourage. Take your people along. Be sure to take our people, your people, along with you. Let me be the first to welcome you to the successful class of 2020U. Thank you very much.
So I had the opportunity to welcome our new faculty this year. We have 20 new faculty members who've joined us, and I want you to pay attention to Dr. Selly. Dr. Selly is an example of a faculty member who's a professor of marketing in the College of Business Administration and Public Policy, but also she is one that shows leadership in so many different ways. So another round of applause for Dr. Selly. Thank you very much. There's an additional person, before I introduce the next speaker, that I want to make sure you all welcome into the Toro family. We have been looking for this individual for 3 years, and we finally got our person. Dr. Bobby Porter, please stand, our new Vice President for Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion. And I want to congratulate her on joining us. She comes to us from Fullerton, and the important thing is she's chosen to be a Toro over a Titan. So that's wonderful. Welcome, Bobby. So this year, we're excited to introduce your new ASI president, Obi Obana. And I want to welcome applause for Obi, as I'm about to give you some of his background. He's an international graduate student majoring in cybersecurity. He studied petroleum and gas engineering for the undergraduate degree at University of Lagos, Nigeria. And he is also an award-winning African composer. And he came over to the US last year to begin a new career path in cybersecurity. During his time here in the United States, he has served in ASI as the International Student Representative, Vice President for Academic Affairs, and now he is your ASI President. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Obi Obana.
Thank you so much, Provost Spagna. Like Provost Spagna said, my name is Obioha Ubona, and in my language, we will say no. No means welcome, and I would like to welcome you all to 2022's convocation. You see, I have a question for everybody, which is like the theme for today for me. What does community mean to you? in Africa, where I'm from, community is a place for growth, a place to be the best of yourself, a place where you're guided to fulfill your potential. ASI's goal for the year is to rebuild the campus community through exemplary leadership, effective advocacy, and impactful student growth. But how can we all contribute to this community? I'll tell you a story. So, in 2005, I had a dislocated shoulder. And in 2019, I won a national award for being the best liturgical composer in Nigeria. Well, how does having a broken arm in 2005 lead to being a composer or being recognized as the best composer in 2009? It took one man. I was in GSS 1. It's what we call in middle school. It's once you leave elementary school, you go to a junior secondary school. And I was in my first year in junior secondary school. With my broken arm, I was playing soccer, and I broke my arm, and my mom told everyone, don't allow him play again, he's done. So during games, I was in the boarding house, and we had time for everything. And during the games period, I was just roaming aimlessly with my broken hand. And the chaplain saw me, was like, come, what are you doing? I'm just, I'm roaming aimlessly, and he's like, join me to choir practice. And I told him, I'm not a chorister, I don't sing. He's like, join me regardless. It's not like you're doing anything useful at the moment. So I joined him, and during my stay in the choir, I stayed here for 3 years. He kept teaching us and telling us that one day, music is going to change your life. I couldn't relate because I wanted to be an engineer, so how did music, it didn't correlate to me. And, eventually learning over the years, honing my skills, and eventually winning the award. After the award show, I got home, and I texted him on WhatsApp, like, hey, Padre, I just won the award. I want to thank you so much for giving me the opportunity. I sent him a very long, passionate text. And he said that he didn't do anything, that he was just doing his duty. And that I got the award because I did my own duty. But what he said changed my life, or changed the way I thought, because someone who changed my life with his actions said he was only doing his duty. It goes a long way to show that faculty, staff, just by doing your duty, you can change a student's life. Just by being diligent in your basic assignments, just what you were sent to do or what you were paid to do, you could change someone's life. And going further than that, how do you take a student, an average student, a student with a broken arm, and make him one of the best composers in the country? It takes for you to care about people, for you to go that extra mile. Don't just be nice to people. Challenge us, guide us to be the best of ourselves. If you see a student who isn't going exactly the right way, it's on you, the elders, to say, hey, I think you could be better than where you are currently. And just that simple guidance could take someone from 0 to 100. To the staff, to the admin, what environment are you creating for the faculty and the students? Because whether we like it or not as students or as staff or as faculty, the staff sets the pace. They create that environment for us to thrive, for us to succeed. The staff are the glue that puts this community together. Without your support, your hard work and vision, how can we build this community? We need to work hand in hand to make this year a beautiful year for the students, especially since we're coming back from COVID. This is the first time we are starting a session with students fully back. You can barely get a spot in the parking lot. So I would like us to work together. We can do this together, and we can support each other. Thank you very much, and go Toros.
So we are blessed, blessed, blessed to have student leadership like that. Incredibly blessed. Another round for Obi. Obi's success, both as a student and as an ASI president, is our success, and it's a commitment we make. And I appreciate, Obi, that you mentioned the staff also. I talked about the faculty, you mentioned the staff. Our job also, in one of our pillars as a culture of care, is to give the staff the oxygen and love they need to be successful in their work. I want an applause for the staff all throughout the university. In 2018, we welcomed our next speaker to the campus, and I was privileged to be at the gala after his investiture, and I chose a song to play, and the song was "Your Love is Lifting Us Higher." I play that every so often over the last several years, and I want you to know that the reason why that rings as true today as it did then is that our president, Thomas Parham, has given love to this campus every day, night, weekend, other activity he's been here. And I know as an educator that in order for someone to give that kind of love, we have to give some back. So if I could ask for you to express your gratitude for our final speaker, President Thomas Parham, I want to feel some love coming to his way. Please. I give you our president, Thomas A. Parham. Thank you, sir.
Let me say good morning. And let me say good morning to those of you joining us on live stream out in the stratosphere. Good morning to you as well. At Dominguez Hills, we say, good day, Toro citizen. I respect your humanity, and I bear witness to your success. This morning, ladies and gentlemen, I am remembering the words of the ancient Greek philosopher Aristotle, who reminds us that the roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. The roots of education are bitter, but the fruit is sweet. So on behalf of our entire campus, I want to welcome all of you to our fall 2022 semester and back to our beautiful campus. It's been a long time since we were able to get together like this. I'm sure I don't need to remind any of you tumultuous events of the past 2 years, but I would like to commend each and every one of you from the bottom of my heart. And I want to commend you again for all you have done to help our campus begin to emerge from what you recall I described as a tripartite series of crises involving the COVID-19 pandemic, severe budget cuts from the state and the CSU system, and social unrest instigated by the murder of Black and brown and Asian and other people of color bodies. Nothing about these past 24 months has been easy or straightforward. And yet, through every twist and turn, through every change in vaccination or mask-wearing protocol or bump in our virtual road, the Toro Nation has just persevered. But it also has thrived. And none of that would have been possible without the dedication and resilience of all of you in this room. who are here today and those who are in virtual spaces. And so on behalf of the entire Touro community and our over 110,000 alumni worldwide, I thank each and every one of you for your resilience, and I thank you for your belief in the sentiment that we are all in this together. Indeed, the roots of education can be bitter, but the fruit is sweet. I come to you today, my friends, to assert that the state of our CSU DH campus is strong. It's strong and it's poised to embrace our mission of providing a high-quality education that leads to personal and professional success, economic and social mobility, and mutually beneficial and reciprocal relationships with the surrounding community as well as local K-12 and community college sectors. However, in the embrace of that noble mission, I want to remind us that we must be mindful of living up to the reputation that we have earned. And in many respects, we are doing just that. Now, in support of that assertion, I would offer the following. We're providing a broad swatch of students from our region, state, and nation with access to a first-class education at this wonderful institution of higher learning. We continue to graduate students who see their and their families' trajectory change with the value of their degrees from CSUDH. We continue to attract students who desire to study, and we continue to recruit faculty and staff who want to work at an institution that both honors its social justice roots and celebrates the diversity of our unique demographic composition. Now, what's interesting is I'm starting my 5th year, as the provost rightly pointed out, and what a whirlwind it has been for the First Lady and me. And so I want to remind us all, even in her volunteer status, that this is a partnership. And she's working a lot behind the scenes, supporting not only this president, but this campus. So I want to pause my remarks for a moment, invite her to stand, and ask you to show some love to our First Lady and the love of my life, Davida Hopkins Parham, if you would. So even though it's been a whirlwind, we couldn't be more committed to the mission that we regularly articulate, no more proud, I think, of the achievements garnered by our students, staff, faculty, senior administration, and alumni. During my first convocation address, for those who were here, you recall that I asked those in attendance to join me in dreaming about what was possible at this Dominguez Hills campus, and not simply accepting parts of what were traditional or predictable. I asked all of you to believe that your California State University could become the model urban university, and just look at what we've been able to accomplish in a short 4 years. We have new campus buildings, new departments, majors, and degrees, new faculty, increased and improved community outreach, town and gown relationships that are solidified and collaborative and cooperative. We've gone from being sued by the city of Carson twice in the 3 years before I arrived to now them hanging banners on city streets celebrating their relationship with this campus. That's pretty doggone good. We've increased our philanthropic investment, our partnerships, and our connectedness to people who really embrace the mission of this campus. We've increased our grant productivity, so much so that we now throw special receptions in the spring to celebrate our PIs who are doing that marvelous work. We've established Dominguez Hills as a center and an example of sustainability practices throughout the CSU system and beyond. If you would, take a message on that phone and tell them I'm busy. We have a lot of students, too many, who have stopped their journey, who have some college but no degree. And we said to ourselves, those days are over. And we reached out to them and said, welcome back home. Your journey is not done. We are going on this journey together. That is what we do at CSUDH, and under the leadership of Sabrina Sanders and with assistance from Linda Wilson and Dean Kim McNutt, we have now enrolled more than 350 of those students who are re-engaging their educational pursuits. That's pretty doggone good. Is Sabrina Sanders in the house? Where is she? One more time, if you would, Sabrina Sanders. Our philanthropic endeavors are expanding and growing, and we have just experienced another record-breaking year for investment in this university. In collaboration with Consul General of Japan, we've unveiled a new initiative called Japan Job Training Program, which will provide quality jobs and internships for our students and alumni. And you know what? We are not even close to done yet. We've received national and regional press. How many of you read the article, Finishing What They Started, in the Chronicle of Higher Education that celebrated our Once in a Toro program? We received an invitation from the Biden-Harris administration this past August to participate in an invitation-only summit with Secretary Cardona on redefining excellence in education, with the California State University as the example. Our latest rankings in U.S. News and World Reports highlight the Social Mobility Index. We help students ascend. In the latest LA Times opinion piece we read a week ago, the author echoed a sentiment I've been talking about over the past several years. And in that sentiment, I've argued that at our Dominguez Hills in particular, we do not measure our worth by selectivity ratios and privilege alone, but rather we measure our worth by providing a broader access to the state and nation's citizenry and cultivating and growing the talent and potential of everyday students who come to us with that changes that elevate their social mobility index and that of their family. And now we are beginning to define and frame the discourse what excellence in education ought to be. And rankings of the most prestigious are beginning to drop. Why? Because they are now looking not just at replicating privilege, but rather providing access and opportunity for a broader swatch of the state citizenry. That is the mission of the CSU, and that is what we are best at your California State University, Dominguez Hills. In terms of infrastructure, despite even all the new buildings, we kept building during the pandemic. People ask me, we're going to stop building because we got a pandemic? Wrong answer. We're not going to stop building. We're going to accelerate building. And as I talked to Vice President Coley and Vice President Wallace as we kept building, we accelerated building to make sure that once we open back up, we could have these new facilities ready to go for our students, our staff, and our faculty. And doggone it if we didn't get it done. And as they waited for us to reopen because of the pandemic, what a wonderful grand opening that was that October, when we opened not one, not two, not three, but 4 new facilities with a magnificent crowd and a celebration of campus that was like, right, homecoming, on steroids. How wonderful is that? But we're already working on, right, additional spaces and new infrastructure. We've got to revamp our university's power grid. I remind folk in a joking way, but seriously, I cannot build and we cannot build another dollhouse on this campus without redoing our power. We're out of power. So we are redoing that power grid. And a lot of that work is taking place, right, with our Vice President for Admin and Finance and our Chief Financial Officer, Vice President Deborah Wallace, who's doing a fantastic job. Where is she in the house? We have a new dining hall and a new hospitality complex that we expect to break ground on this year that is going to be pretty fabulous, so that we are starting to move out of that mom and pop operation and now into the 21st century, where we need to treat both the students in our residence halls and the campus with the hospitality experience that they deserve. On the leadership of our Vice President for Student Affairs, Dr. William Franklin, who worked with our students to pass a health and wellness referendum, we're about to build a state-of-the-art health and wellness recreation center that has been approved by our students this last spring. And why that's significant for us as we talk about the state of our university is strong. Because much of what I heard when I arrived 4 years ago is, Dr. P, you just don't understand. You see, we are poor and we can't do it, and our students won't. And I'm like, I'm less interested in the 8 out of 10 reasons why we can't. And I want to hear about the 2 out of 10 why we can. And I challenge the students to move beyond that space, which is real. And I empathize with them because I grew up poor. I know what it's like to grow up in a single-parent home with a mother raising 4 kids by herself, never earned more than $18,000 a year, and put all of us through school. I get it. But I also understand that in some cases, some of that is a state of mind. And I challenge the students to say, the question is not your economic status, but rather, what are you prepared to invest in your future? And these students stood up and said, we're prepared to invest in our future and the future of Toros yet to come. And they now passed this referendum that's going to help us build, right, a brand new health, wellness, and recreation center, so that the next time a pandemic rolls around, we have a healthier population prepared, right, to manage it, because they have healthier, strong minds and bodies because of the work that we will have done on this campus. That is a big cultural change on this campus, and I want to celebrate that and the work of Dr. William Franklin, who had led that effort. We've also been visited by 2 congressional delegations, not 1 but 2, lauding our work and looking at to better understand our efforts in sustainability. Then they came to explore how the new Biden-Harris student loan forgiveness program could positively impact our students and our alumni. You've already heard the provost talk about our unveiling of our new strategic plan, Going Far Together, under the leadership of Drs. Costino and Smith, that articulates and reveals who we are at the core of our being as an institution. And it charts a path forward as we continue to grow and evolve into the model urban university we aspire to be. And the beauty is that everyone can see themselves reflected in the fabric of that document. Why? Because it was about as inclusive as you can get it from internal and external folk. Took us about 1.5 years to get it done, but we did it the right way. And that is going to be our educational blueprint going forward. And the journey this entire campus is embarking on is more than simply words on a page of a strategic plan, but ideals that should serve as the substance of behavior. My friends, ideas are the substance of behavior. If you want to change the way people behave, you've got to get up in their head, deconstruct what they've been doing, reconstruct what needs to be there, and invite them to then go forward. That is what I hope that strategic plan will do. And the central tenet of that strategic plan is to uphold and strive for social justice and equity, which is supported by those 5 pillars. We're talking about thriving students, thriving educators, equitable access, a culture of care, and being a pillar of this community. And the strategic plan will guide us as the university enters the next phase of its transformation. For these are certainly challenges that lie ahead. Indeed, in many respects, we are living up to the reputation that we have earned and that all of you have helped to create. But I want you to know, and I try to say this as often as I can, as many places as I go nationally and regionally and throughout the state and the local community, a president gets lauded a lot for what they do, but understand that the best thing I have ever done is surround myself with great people. I provide a little bit of strategic vision, get the heck up out their way and let them do what they do. And so who deserves the credit are the cabinet, who deserves the credit are the deans and the associate deans, who deserves the credit are you staff and faculty, who deserves the credit or even the students who are putting in the work. It is all of you who make Dominguez Hills what it is. I am but a small part of that space. And so I take this time, as our campus is strong, to applaud all of you for the work that you've done. Please give yourselves a hand on that. Now, in my pronouncement that the state of our university is strong, I'm reminded that life at its best is a creative synthesis of opposites in fruitful harmony. Let me say that again. Life at its best is a creative synthesis of opposites in fruitful harmony. That is certainly true when we claim strength. For one can never know how strong they can be until their moment of greatest vulnerability. Strength, my friends, is not measured at the zero line forward. It is measured from when you got to come through some adversity and move past that zero line into that positive space. Strength, right, is not simply about how strong you can be. It's about recognizing what are your moments of greatest vulnerability and how do we then move past and overcome those. So even in our characterization of this university's strength, I'm clear that there are areas of vulnerability that must be identified. There are inconsistencies that must be reconciled. There are wounds that must be addressed and healed. We're experiencing an enrollment challenge and growth where we must address not simply the recruitment of new freshman transfers and graduate students, but we must be even more diligent about the retention and persistence efforts that keep and ultimately graduate the students that we already have. We've got to put just as much effort, if not more so, at not simply recruiting new Toros to the Toro Nation, but holding on to the ones that we have. And it's true, we will open up for spring admissions this year to address our enrollment challenges. But we must be more intentional about wrapping our arms around and serving the needs of students who already occupy the seats at our table of knowledge and the buffets of learning and discovery that we have here. Beyond that, we have cohorts of students, our API community calling out for more space, representation, and unity on campus. We have staff in the Women's Center arguing for more and different space, and both somehow believe, mistakenly so, that this administration is less in tune with their needs or not caring about their concerns. We have campus infrastructure, academic buildings, and faculty offices in need of rehabilitation and repair, athletic facilities in need of serious upgrades, student affairs, administrative buildings that need to be constructed, and child care centers that need to be replaced with brand new homes. We have faculty unions who, beyond posting pictures of this president and his salary, are joining staff crying out for increased wages and better compensation from a system they claim does not recognize their worth and value. And we have consistent budget challenges that challenge us in ways that are just very pronounced. Toro Nation, in the midst of our strength, there are points of vulnerability that must be identified. There are inconsistencies we have to reconcile. There are wounds that we have to heal. And yet, amid the joy and pain of this moment, the administration and I need you to know that we hear you. This administration and I need you to know that we care. This administration and I need you to believe that despite our resource constraints in terms of budget, people, and space, we are going to continue to move forward to try and continue transforming this campus into the model urban university that I think we can become. But as we continue to address the vulnerabilities, I have a humble request as your president. And that is that we focus our energies and advocacy at the systems of oppression that foster these inequities and the challenges out there that are, right, things that we cannot control, rather than turning our disappointment, anger, and confrontation on each other. We can't turn on each other such that each group challenges the other for favored status as if we are all not in this same boat. Know that I believe there's no one around here, from our gardeners up to senior executives, who gets paid enough. Nobody does. Nobody has sufficient space. Nobody's office has sufficient personnel in it to staff it. We are not that deep. And no one has a monopoly, I think, on the suffering that lots of us experience. And while the state and the system may not have fully bought into our hopes and dreams for a more just and equitable distribution of resources, I'm going to still keep trying to argue for more. I refuse to discard those hopes and abandon those dreams, for I and we are convinced of their worth and necessity. And I pledge to you to continue to fight for all those things that will help us heal in the broken places and continue to climb the ladder of educational excellence we want to be known for in this CSU system, in this state, and throughout the country. I say good day, Toro citizens. Please know that I respect your humanity and I bear witness to your success. Thank you.
So to President Parham, when I came to the campus in 2017, the thing I heard about Dominguez Hills is they do more with less. With this president, we're in the path of doing more with more. So again, thank you, President Parham, for how you're supporting us and moving us forward. There's one group, as the president talked about vulnerabilities, that I think we need one last shout out before we go onto the North Lawn to celebrate each other and celebrate our university. And those are the people that kept us going during the worst times during the pandemic, and that's our IT leadership. So to Vice President Chris Manriquez, to Bill, Sarah, Adelbert, Reza, Natalie, Alana, and a ton of superstars, thank you for everything you did for our university to keep us going and compressing technological advancements of 15 years into 2 years. Thank you very much for that. So with that, we end our fall convocation. I welcome you all to join us out on the North Lawn for lunch, and please celebrate our university and celebrate each other. Thank you very much.